Today's guest is someone who embodies everything Beyond the Blueprint is about, carving out her path, facing uncertainty head on, and building something unique in her community. Sarah's not only an ER nurse, but also the owner of Alla Café, a cozy and creative coffee shop built around connection, community, and a love for board games. At just 24 years old, she's already showing that life doesn't have to follow a linear plan to be meaningful or successful. From navigating the chaos of healthcare during COVID to launching a business without a perfect roadmap, Sarah's story is a powerful reminder that real growth happens when you dare to build on your own blueprint. Sarah, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, as it states, you're an ER nurse and you own a cafe. What did it look like, becoming a nurse, and what was the motive behind becoming a nurse? Was that already in your background, or how did that come to be?
So it kind of seemed like the obvious career choice because both my mom and my older sister are nurses. So I don't know, it just kind of inspired me to go into the field too because I saw how much they enjoyed being able to, touch people's lives like that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, find a lot of people that do it for that, and then other people do it for other reasons. I mean, it is a secure job. I mean, at least in my experience, been in healthcare for so many years. But yeah, nursing, there's always going to be a need for nurses.
Always, yep. Job security.
I mean, that's a pretty good one. And then, so how was it going through your nursing career, and a little bit of leading up to the COVID era, because I know that changed a lot of people's perspectives on healthcare. Like we talked a little bit at the shop before this, and I kind of got an insider view of that. But leading up to COVID, and then what do you feel changed after COVID? Maybe even within healthcare, and then or your mindset of it.
Yeah. So this is gonna be quite the background, but so I started school in 2018, and then I finished school in 2021. So I actually, half of my college career was right when COVID struck, and at that point I had just entered the healthcare field. I had just got a job on one of the psychiatric floors, so I was navigating that and going to school and trying to just cope with this pandemic that's happening. So that definitely molded my views on healthcare. I think it kind of burnt me out a little early, which kind of gave me the ideas to start looking for other, routes of career paths. But overall, graduating during the middle of COVID, and then I completed the externship because I'm an ER nurse. They have an externship where you get your experience on other floors before coming down to the ER so that you have a good basis of knowledge. So that was definitely tough because it was still when the second wave of really bad COVID happened. So you would see your patients decline, and you would grow, because they were there for so long, you would grow a relationship with the patients, and then they would decline so bad, and they're in denial about the whole thing, and you're trying to convince them that there might be a better plan of care for you, but they're just denying that they're even that sick. So it's hard to watch them decline like that. And I still remember the name of the first patient that I truly connected to and then lost. So it was tough. And then during my ICU rotation, my grandmother actually got sick with COVID, but she was down in Kentucky, and at one point we had no idea where she was, as far as what hospital she went to. I actually called around and got that information. And it's hard being the family member in that situation too, and not being able to visit, not being able to be involved in the care. So I got to see both sides of it at early in my career.
Being internal in it and being external, because I had some friends too that were like you, that wanted to visit their loved ones and couldn't. I mean, I can't imagine how that felt. That's insane. Yeah. So she was just in some random hospital in Kentucky, and you guys had to do your own research to figure that out.
Yeah.
Okay. So even as a nurse, you're probably like with roadblocks. Like usually, you could look into your system and kind of easily find something, but now again, yeah, coming from the outsider's perspective, especially during that time frame. Okay. That's incredible. And then so after COVID, you said it kind of is that when you started shaping like, okay, maybe I'll get burnt out, healthcare,
backup
and
plans.
then backup.
Backup
And
plans.
again, I mean, you're how old at this point? I
Only
mean,
24.
right. So like 22, 21 maybe.
Yeah.
You're thinking that's incredible. That's to have that foresight. So what is that? Walk me through your mindset on, okay, COVID, burnt out, thinking other things.
So, I mean, it's no secret that healthcare workers get burnt out relatively quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You become jaded, you start becoming disconnected from your job a little bit. So it's good to have an outlet, and that's what this cafe is for me right now.
Mm-hmm.
Could it become a full-time thing? Maybe. But right now it's a good outlet for me to connect to the community in a different way and kind of relieve some of that stress, because it's fun for me even during the stressful times when I have people lined up and taking their orders and stuff. So yeah, I think that I worked in the ER that deals with a lot of psychiatric disorders to start my career. I worked there for 3 years, and now I switched over to the trauma ER. So it's a different type of ER nursing, which is nice. It kind of refreshed me a little bit because I could tell that I was becoming a little bit jaded from dealing with a lot of the patient population. So that the switch kind of came at a time where I was already thinking about opening this. So it was like kind of, they ran parallel to each other.
Okay.
I don't know.
It was like the tipping, like it was the tipping point,
It was just,
sometime during or after COVID, right? Yeah. And then I can imagine, so when we met before, you were talking about, because I'm just thinking, you're an ER nurse, your schedule is crazy, and then, but you still enjoy coming in and serving. And what I learned from you at the cafe was that you enjoy serving people and like being a host. So
yes.
Do you think that like plays into your energy to be able to like go from being a nurse? I mean, you're working probably 12-hour shifts, maybe
Yep.
longer, and then still going to the cafe. Is that kind of like what keeps you energized and motivated?
Yeah, so I love hosting people.
Yeah.
I like to connect on that level where I can, have my regulars and ask about their day, ask about their family, ask about their dog.
Yeah, right.
And get to know them as community members and what they are looking for in a business. And I'm hoping that a lot of people come forward with ideas so that I could really mold it to be a space for the whole community.
Yeah, and I remember you talking about that, like the community and how they are shaping that. So, and that plays into, again, why you kind of started it. It was like, what was the story back in the day? You wanted to play board games, and what was that?
Yeah. So I used to my sisters and my mom and I would all play board games together on the days that she was off and we were home. And my sisters would quit really early, but I would force my mom to continue playing Monopoly with me for hours.
It's like a step down from Risk, in my opinion, right? Like you could play Risk for days.
Yeah.
Monopoly to me is along those lines as well.
Yeah.
Right.
It was a long game, and my mom definitely stepped through it as much as she could.
Right.
And I always lost, but I was 8.
Well,
come on.
Yeah, I mean, come on, right? Yeah, housing, real estate, debt, net flow, like, I mean, and maybe that helped shape how you view the business, right? Because not a lot of, I mean, let's be real, not a lot of 20-somethings are thinking of, cash flow and getting loans and getting LLCs and things of that nature. So, yeah, imagine that board game set you up before that. Do you think that had any any play in it?
Basic model, maybe.
Yeah, right.
I used to tuck away little nest eggs during Monopoly, so I'd have a little cash left
Right.
over to buy
Yeah.
property.
I mean, yeah.
So maybe, but like in a very basic way, maybe.
Yeah, totally. That makes sense. But all in all, it was like that's how you came up with the name, right? Like so we did the nursing, and now we're evolving into Alla board. How did we come up with the name and just like the feel and the vibe of it?
Yeah. So I was kind of between a board game cafe and a doggy daycare. So look out for Molly's Place someday.
Okay.
That'll be my doggy daycare.
All right, y'all watch out.
But the board game cafe kind of won over when I was looking for a space. And then I had to come up with a name, and that ended up being one of them. It was between that and Bored to Death, which,
Yeah, it's should I go into that place? I don't know.
Yeah.
Should I not? Maybe next time.
Yeah, maybe next time. So Alla board, like penny Alla vodka, it means on the or in the. And then board being the board games, being the charcuterie boards. So some puns there. I really love puns.
Yeah. Well, when I was in there, I saw that board. I was like, I got it. The charcuterie board. It's like, I got to get back in there and like have a snack for lunch or something. That was really good. And the way that you were like laying it out delicately, I mean, you could tell you really enjoy doing what you're doing. And I'm sure that's why, it's no secret or that, this past Saturday was one of your busiest Saturdays. I think that time and attention and that care to the people that you're serving, and again, it just is gonna, reciprocity looks like it's kind of taking its toll there.
Yeah. I think that each one ends up different, a little bit
Okay.
different, in the way I lay it out and like how I fit things on the board. They have the same bases, but like I get to be creative, which, who doesn't love creative liberty?
Yeah.
So you might not get the same product every time, but you'll have the same idea. It's all the idea there. And I just love hosting, so it's something that I turn my attention to.
Yeah, no, I certainly wouldn't be mad if, I had something different, but all in all, it looked amazing. Yeah, I was pretty impressed with that. Yeah, it was good. And then, so after filing your LLC, what was the biggest mental hurdle, like getting started? Did you, how did you keep going?
Yeah.
Who was there with you? Planning, whatever planning you did, even whether it was formal or not, or just like calling somebody or researching, like how did the concept come to life, right?
Yeah, so, well, first you have to file for the LLC.
Yeah.
And I didn't really plan on opening, this soon.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
But in order to keep an LLC open and running, you have to prove that you're working on it within like 3 years. So I started looking for a place, and then that kind of snowballed into, okay, I found a place, so now what? And it kind of snowballed from there. It's definitely overwhelming, having never opened a business.
Yeah.
Or knowing how to open a business. I'm not a business major.
Yeah. So how did you go from, okay, I need LLC? Was it just like your own doing, like, okay, what after you're in this type of program, it seems like? Like, what program was this? Or was this just something that you followed from online?
I Googled a
Okay.
lot.
Okay.
I always have at least 50 tabs open on my computer, and I'm not proud to say that.
Yeah.
It's very overwhelming.
I'm sure others.
But I just started Googling, what would be the best route of business, whether it be like sole proprietorship or like that sort of deal. And then I decided on an LLC. And then I started out the journey with a business partner. She is also a nurse, but she works night shift, so it's kind of hard to mesh our schedules. So we kind of parted ways amicably. Still friends, don't worry.
Yeah, no, and that's very mature. I mean, I find that very mature to be able to say, like, an objective look at it. Like, I've had a couple little businesses in my day, and when it comes to the growth of it and the growth of yourself and your psyche and a friendship.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of things at stake. So really taking a look at it from a macro point of view and being very objective, right? And just kind of being like, hey, listen, we want to do this. We had all pure intentions to do this, but it's not really working out. Right. So like, how can we, and that's very just mature and objective way to think about it. It's not personal. It just is what it is. Yeah. Awesome. So, that's impressive.
It was, well, yeah, but figuring out like the legalities of that part of things was also a challenge. So there's a lot of nuances that I didn't quite know what I was getting myself into. Yeah. And like, I get really bad decision fatigue, so it's been really overwhelming. And I think finally opening the door was like a really big relief for me, because I was like, now all the major stuff is done. I can just kind of like, I have little side projects I still have to do. I know that, I still have to fix things up, but those major parts are done, and that's really what brought me the relief of, I finally did it. And along the way, I had a lot of support with, my friends, family. My parents were a huge help. My dad is a handyman, so he
there you go.
Did the flooring for me, and he did the bar. So, those parts of it, if you see those, shout out to my dad.
Yeah, right. All right. Good carpentry work. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and just what I'm getting out of that is nobody goes it alone, and it is. You see when you walk in the shop, you're the one serving all the cups, but it is you to reach out to those resources, right? Yeah. It seems like it's only you, but if you don't reach out and get help, it will be only on you and may never come to life.
Right.
So
I think that something else that also gave me the confidence to like really dive into it was the Small Business Development Center in downtown Binghamton in the incubator building.
Okay.
They were
shout out to them.
Huge help. So shout out to them.
Impressive. And and I actually think that owner of this had used them when he very first started launching his property management division. So I think he used them as well. So great leverage on that.
Yeah, they're a great resource, free to use. Okay. Why not,
Yeah, excellent.
The only people they don't do business with is anyone who does cannabis. So
yeah, okay. So it's a small window. So long as nobody's doing cannabis, it's all good. Yeah. But they have their own set of challenges to overcome. Man, all the licensing and all that stuff to do. So what other challenges have you faced with Alla board? So we're rolling.
Yeah.
We've got the shop. We're making sales. Like any other things that you overcame?
The first challenge had to be the timeline of things, because there was some communication that we could have this project done by this date, and then it just wasn't done. Mm-hmm. So that I had to keep pushing and pushing and pushing my opening date, and that was kind of frustrating, I think, on both ends. Yeah. So that was a huge challenge in the journey, and then I recently found more of my challenges because I tend to be forgetful. So there was just one customer where I just they had ordered a charcuterie board, and I was busy doing other things because 3 other people came in, and then I was like, oh shucks, I forgot about it. Yeah. And I felt so bad, but so I gotta work out the kinks of how to remind myself. Yeah. And that happens at my normal job too. I left a bagel in the toaster for 2 hours.
Yeah,
one
there
time.
You go. Okay, I'm sure the smell was lovely, and
Luckily toasters have timers.
Yeah, okay, good for that. Somebody was like, wait, there's already got a snack. Yeah. Maybe you helped somebody else.
Yeah, maybe.
You gave them a snack. Maybe they were hungry. That's cool. So, I mean, it sounds like, really no big challenges or anything that's come up. So open, that was probably the biggest challenge, and then getting pushed back. You got some projects that are pushed out make sense. We open, and so we're kind of still just grooving, right?
We're still vibing.
Okay.
I mean, I knew that it wouldn't be easy, and I knew that I wouldn't be turning a profit, but that like was another challenge, was the financial aspect of things, because I couldn't get a business loan because I had just bought a house. So
Yeah.
you know, so I have too much debt already that they wouldn't give me a business loan, and then but I got a personal loan, and so that has been difficult navigating, like how do I separate my finances from the business's finances. Still trying to work on that one.
Yeah.
I'll get an accountant.
Yeah,
sometime.
that's what I was thinking. Is like, just add another person to your team. You know, an accountant. Yeah, interesting. So okay, well, I mean that's really good. But now it sounds just like now we're at a point, and from our previous conversations, like now we're looking at ways to do events or kind of do things to integrate the community and those type of. What does that look like, and what are you got some ideas on that?
I do. I have some ideas. So my big goals in the next coming months after this grand opening is to either expand into evening hours more often, because that seems to be like more of a time for people to hang out and play board games, or like host private events in the evening, and like rent out the space for people to play, and then provide some sort of benefit to that. Like, I don't have a liquor license yet. Should be in the works.
Strong word. Okay, all right.
But like a complimentary mocktail or something like that to show my appreciation for people coming. I want to do a banned book club because I'm really big on activism.
Okay.
Banned
book club.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all of the books, you take the list of books that were banned in other states.
Okay,
where,
gotcha. Banned. Oh, that's cool.
We're censoring. This free speech.
I like it.
And take those and read those and look into why they were banned and what we can learn from them. So that's a big goal of mine. I want to do a pay it forward board for the community members who may not be able to afford a coffee for the day, but really need it.
Okay.
If anyone else has ideas they want to see come to fruition, shout out.
Yeah.
Send them my way.
and I know you're getting a lot of input again, like you said, from your customers and stuff. So that's a huge sounding board.
It's amazing. It's amazing to talk to them and see what they want. I get a lot of comments on the Facebook about things. I get a lot of private messages saying, "Hey, do you have this?" I'm like, "Not yet, but I could."
Yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can make it happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Excellent. Sweet. Let's see. And then what about somebody that's looking to do what you've done and what you're doing? What advice would you give to them for somebody that's looking to do something similar to this?
I feel like I can't give business advice. Because this is my first go around too. So I really just would say, like, don't be afraid to dive headfirst into it. Like, kind of like one of my friends, excuse my language, but we got a fuck it mentality. You're gonna do it. You're gonna like just go for it. If you take a hit, maybe make sure it's a safe, a safe investment. So like, I know that I have my nursing career to fall back on. So that was what kind of drove me to really dive into this. I knew that I'd have a backup plan in case this failed. And in the end, like, I signed a 3-year lease. It's 3 years of my life. It's this much money that I'm losing. At least I could say I opened a business. At least I could say I tried.
Yeah. So risk reward. And then, an analysis on obviously cash and how much you have available, and then also just like backup plans, sounds like. Yeah. So just quite a bit of planning and understanding, people want to be optimistic, but don't be too optimistic to where
don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
There's
okay.
a lot of cliches.
But it makes sense, you know. But these cliches are true.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't be a saying if they weren't.
Yeah, especially in your case.
Yeah.
You know. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, and then I got some more questions, but I think we're gonna wrap up this portion, and then we'll get into the next. Really like that one. Like,
Yeah.
So was there a moment that you doubted doing what you're doing, and when did that take place?
Yeah.
What was that feel, and then how did you come through?
I think that, yes, there have been a lot of moments of doubt throughout this process. You know, this has been a year in the making, so there's been a lot of time for that doubt to kind of build up, and ultimately it was, I think the fact that I am in a 3-year lease and the fact that I have to open my doors to like at least break even, that kind of pushed me to truly dive into it. The moments of doubt came kind of throughout the way, as far as when projects were pushed, or like when we kind of butted heads with the landlord.
Yeah.
The business partner thing, because she was more of an aggressive personality than I was in my communication style.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of those kind of moments made me doubt what I was doing, or doubt that I had made the right choice, as far as business partners, as far as business ideas.
Yeah.
I think it's just the motivation to lose as little money as possible.
Okay, so that was kind of like the fuel to just keep going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, now that it's open, it's like the fuel that I see people, and I see how happy they are to come in and how excited they are. I get so many people come in and say like, oh wow, I was just waiting for this place to open up, and I'm so excited, and I can't wait to see what it becomes, and those people are kind of pushing me and fueling my fire even more. Yeah.
No, that's impressive. So yeah, we did mention those things earlier, but yeah, I guess those would have been large portions of your growth that that you could have easily said, well, you know what, this is not going to work because I'm having this issue or I'm having that issue. Could have easily thrown in the towel. Yeah. Okay. And just kept rolling. I mean, and that's what this is about, this podcasting. It's just like, that's exactly what we seek out, is these people. We want to give motivation to the people out there that, are working a 9-to-5 and want to do something else. And, yes, you are a brilliant person, and you are doing great things. And I think there's other people out there that can do it as well, right? Yeah. When you really get down to it, yeah, we're smart people and we have our knowledge in other areas, but we can grow in other areas. Like, you're not a business major, you didn't come from a business background, but you stuck it out, you Googled, you learned, you went through ups and downs, and that's just incredible. So yeah, that's impressive. That's exactly what this show is about. And then which one did you want to touch on? This one? Yeah, please.
Yeah.
So the original how was it shifted?
Yeah, so I kind of went into it hoping that I could have it like fully, I can't find the right word. I was hoping that it would be like complete. As soon as I opened my doors, like the vision came together and it was exactly what I pictured. But as I ran into like the financial issues of, having to budget out different things, and prioritize what I was going to buy next, that kind of led me to accept it for its incompleteness. So like, my goal was to have a full game library and to have just like a lot more stuff, like a an oven, so I can have baked goods that I make, and those things just couldn't happen financially and time wise. So I think that it has really made me realize that it doesn't have to be 100% done to be still a good thing. And, you know, it also, yes, it's disappointing, and yes, it's like kind of a maybe a turnoff for some people that it's not all the way done. But it also gives them something to look forward to, watching the business grow. And now that I have my doors open, they can be a part of that process.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something special.
Yeah, I would agree. And just thinking, you know, just anything that we start off or that we take on an endeavor. And again, I'll throw out another cheesy cliche since that's kind of the role we're on. It's like Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah.
And you know, as a person, yeah, we have expectations, and if they're not met, sometimes we don't know how to accept that. But I really like how you're kind of transitioning your mindset on, well, again, and you're kind of staying true to All Aboard and who Sarah is. It's like, well, this is a community, and I'm sorry, it's, you know, it's not what I would like either, and I'm sorry to disappoint you of my less than stellar or updated whatever the, you know, you pick it, but it is what it is. And it's a beautiful shop. I went there, I took pictures. I liked your little your carpet was like a chessboard. That's cool. And then you had and then I saw a book was from like 1925. And it had like games in there. And like it was, you know, it's kind of crazy how we've evolved though, but those games were like one-on-one and groups of people and just made up stuff. So it's I mean, everything to me I see that's happening in your coffee shop, it's so organic and it's growing along with you. I mean, you can only, you know, you're only one person, and you're doing everything that you can, and again, those people that know you and understand that are going to continue to grow. But no, it's a great shop. It is what it is now. It's the best it is today, and then tomorrow it'll be the best that it is tomorrow.
Right. I think that we have this mindset that, you know, things need to be 100%, you know, done and beautiful. And like, I think we watch so many franchises open, and like when they open their doors, they're 100% ready. Oh yeah,
that's a good,
I was not 100% ready.
No.
But that's okay.
And I have a playbook, you know, everything already, you know, lined up, marketing materials, you know, website, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like this is the definition of, again, our podcast, and it's grit and just starting from the bottom and working your way up to the top. So that's pretty incredible. Well, I mean, I think we're ready to wrap it up, but like Sarah, where, you know, again, thank you for coming on, but where can other people find you? Like your address, link, you know, social links, all that. Where can we find you?
So I am at 147 Washington Ave in Endicott. I'm kitty corner diagonal from the post office, right? 2 or 3 doors down from the DMV. I don't know what else. What other landmarks? Right on the corners.
Yeah.
It's hard to miss.
You can't miss Alla Aboard Café on the corner, glass windows.
Yes.
Look in, we'll see the cafe.
On Facebook, I think it's Alla Aboard Café, and it has a picture of our logo. Instagram is Alla Aboard Café New York, NY. And then find me on Google Maps.
Boom.
Leave me a review.
Yeah.
If you're gonna leave like a bad review, talk to me first.
Yeah.
You know, tell me what you're thinking, so that I know.
Maybe
what
I can fix it real quick.
Know?
I'm one person. I'm doing all I can.
Yeah, like it's okay to have things that you want to say and things that I should be improving on.
Yeah.
Just tell me those things so that I can improve it for the next person or for the next visit.
Yeah. Because that kind of makes it permanent, and it's like, well, we're all evolving. Like I could probably change that the next time I come in. Okay. Cool. Well, again, thank you so much for being on the show.
For having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Stellar interview.
Thank you.
Yeah. We'll see you again.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.